Hey everyone, I'm Ian Buster Green, an anime YouTuber, and as of today, I only need 91 subscribers to get monetized. That is right, 91. 91's a weird number, but that's how many subscribers I need. Alright, let's move on. So anyway, this weekend AMC had a $3 movie day, which was super cool. A bunch of people went to see Nope. But I took advantage of that, and I decided I was going to go see Dragonball Superheroes, the new Dragon Ball Super movie. Now, this was a movie that I was kind of on the fence about seeing for a little while, so I didn't go see it right away. But the Broly movie a few years back was, pun intended, super amazing. Like, I watched that one on opening week to a packed audience, and it was just fucking nuts, man. The crowd went wild every time anyone got punched. Great fucking night. This time around, though, I wanted to see the new movie, but I had a really hard time freeing up my schedule. Work's been crazy this month, so I didn't really have time to see it until miraculously I had like an open hour this like day when like everything was cheap and that like further incentivized me to go. Now, before I get into it, I'm going to begrudgingly go over the fact that randomly the animation format has changed in this one, going from the glorious perfect 2D animation that was seen in the Broly animation to this much cheaper, much easier to make 3D animation that looks like a fucking video game. It's really disappointing, and it's kind of a big letdown of the movie. While I have to admit there were places in the movie that looked absolutely amazing, it just was not as good as the drop-dead gorgeous Broly movie from a few years ago. So it's a downgrade, that's all I can really say. They were trying to save money, and I guess they did, because I guess Toei needs to save money right now. I mean, everyone's hurting right now. Anyway, despite that, I do feel like they got a little bit more creative with the story this time, so that at least validated the movie and like gave it a reason to exist. Alright, with that being said, from here on out, spoilers ahead, these are my reaction to this one. So, from what I gathered going into the trailers of this one, I thought the whole thing was going to be a very weird and twisted rehash of the Cell Saga, in kind of a way that a lot of super storylines have been very derivative of Dragon Ball Z, like how they rehashed like the Frieza Saga into the Gold Frieza Saga. Broly was just all the Broly movies all at once, like more logistically laid out. Future Trunks came back and they did the Black Goku saga, and then, you know, that was just Future Trunks again without all the baggage of fighting Frieza and the androids. But despite that, it was probably my favorite arc so far in Super. The only arc that straight up did anything all throughout new was the Universe Tournament arc. But then again, if you really remove the stakes and the outer space setting, it's pretty much just another Budokai arc, which like happened like freaking like 7 times in the original Dragon Ball. Oh yeah, and that one time it happened in the Majin Buu saga. So yeah, I guess now that they've rehashed the androids, they've rehashed Cell, the only thing they really haven't rehashed from DBZ is the Buu saga, which fan speculation is really, really hoping that they're going to get back into Oob eventually. Anyway, so this movie starts off with a very cool recap of the Red Ribbon Army arc from Dragon Ball, who they are, why they matter. Then it moves into a lighter, faster recap of the Android and Cell saga. I guess this recap is mostly for any like parents and randos who walked into the theater. And then it gets down to work reestablishing the Red Ribbon Army and showing how they are still a major threat and a major faction in Dragon Ball operating behind the scenes for 40 years. And I actually like this a lot. It did a pretty good job covering up the plot holes and like how this is happening, at least in terms of like filling in Magenta's backstory. And it always made no sense that Dr. Gero was like the sole force pumping out the Red Ribbon Army. And so all this like plot filling in that they're giving me, it really tracks to just filling in all these events, because I don't think Gero really like gave a shit about the Red Ribbon Army, so it really made no sense that he would rebuild them. And also, it really makes it extra sinister by like also pointing out that in the Dragon Ball universe, the Red Ribbon Army is the world's #1 pharmaceutical company, so fuck you, pharmaceuticals. Anyway, that was a fucking bold move, and I love it. American movies would never be so callous as to criticize the fucking pharmaceutical company overlords. Anyway, we're introduced to Dr. Hedo. He's Dr. Gero's grandson, and despite being a genius mad scientist, he's also a fat little comic boy superhero fanboy, which is another very modern 2020 thing. Anyway, the superhero obsession he has is giving him this pretty interesting moral compass, which unfortunately plays right into the Red Ribbon Army's return. Actually, what's really cool as shit in this movie, the way the writers played this, they made the Dragon Ball Z fighters look really, really suspicious, because when you actually look at them objectively, yeah, it's insane. The Z fighters contain a collection of some of the world's most dangerous fighters, aliens, and demons that have constantly attacked the world for over 40 years now. And it's kind of dumb that literally all of them had change of hearts, but it's also crazy when you consider the present lineup is like all these former villains or otherwise their kids. I knew from the trailers going into this that it was going to be a Gohan and Piccolo movie, but I was actually shocked. It's actually just a Piccolo movie. Maybe it's the Piccolo movie. I don't think I've ever seen Piccolo get as much screen time in this movie as like any time ever in like my entire life. And I was very here for that because fuck it, Piccolo, let's see what he's about. Goku and Vegeta are barely in the movie except for like this one scene where they have a fight. So this movie is actually super interesting. And what makes this movie really work for me was all the small details. There's all these excellent callbacks to like stupid filler episodes where Piccolo didn't get a driver's license. And like even stupider like inside jokes like behind the scenes where like the fact like Piccolo is on like a first name basis with like Pan's daycare teacher while fucking Goku is in like outer fucking space. Also, was this movie paid for by Oreos? Why are there so many fucking Oreos in this movie? Like, literally every character in this movie is, like, always eating Oreos. Anyway, another small detail I fucking love was fucking Android 21 got a minor cameo on the Jiro family tree. Love that. Like, I'm super fucking glad Android 21 is canon, but does that mean all of Fighter Z is canon, or just, like, the character is canon without the events of the video game attached to her? Weird. So now that I look into it, did they ever go any deeper into how 21 and Jiro's marriage worked? Because she seemed way too young for his old ass, but I'm assuming since she was an android, she probably had her age, like, reversed. Anyway, so Dr. Hedo is your pretty average Dragon Ball Z joke villain character, very, like, in the vein of, like, Garlic Jr. or whatever. I'm honestly surprised he survived the movie and got a redemption, but I guess he wasn't evil enough to really, like, matter enough to kill. I am super bummed, though, that Gamma 2 died and Gamma 1 did not. Gamma 2 was cool as shit. Gamma 1 is boring. They definitely killed the wrong brother on that one. And I guess we have to discuss Cell Max. Oh, God. I had really high expectations for this in the movie because Cell was like one of the most legendary Chad villains in all of Dragon Ball, and this movie just did not meet any of them. I thought he would start out as Cell Form 1, easily absorb the 2 Gammas, and then go perfect Cell Max, but no. Instead, he was just in constant imperfect cell form with like no fucking brain cells. And I guess he was like the size of King Kong. Oh, also Gohan and Piccolo got brand new forms out of nowhere just to sell toys. Orange Piccolo, I don't like the way he looks, but overall he's pretty cool. But I kind of have mixed feelings that he got the form from essentially cheating to power up his levels with the Dragon Balls. But I mean, I guess logistically, I guess nothing else would have made sense with like the way they've like limited his power up to this point. And meanwhile, Gohan's super form, I see online it's called Gohan Beast, but I don't think they said that in the movie. Anyway, it just seems to be a mix of Super Saiyan 3 and Ultra Instinct. And yeah, I guess if Gohan just went Super Saiyan 3, that wouldn't have been that big a deal because Super Saiyan 3 is old now, so it's not as hype as it used to be. But I'm not sure if there is an additional gimmick to it, possibly because Gohan is half human. But it's really crazy to me that Gohan got there. I know he's been really like lazy through all of Super, but because it's been fucking like 5 years since Super went off the air, I completely forgot that Gohan did train with Goku and competed in the Tournament of Power and had gotten a little bit stronger recently. So this movie was pretty interesting because it ended up being mostly a rectification on Gohan and Piccolo as characters and clarifying their relationship. And in doing such a way, they like redo the Cell Saga, but with Piccolo instead of Goku. And it's actually pretty bonkers that the end of this movie, it basically retcons the end of the Cell Saga, but more than that, it reveals the blatant truth that in reality, Gohan is more Piccolo's son than he is Goku's. Like, Goku has been dead a majority of Gohan's life, and despite the fact they did have some good times together, primarily Piccolo raised Gohan, which is just the way it is, I guess. Like, the fucking fact Gohan ends up killing Cell Max in this movie with the special beam cannon and not the Kamehameha is, like, fact alone that Gohan is trying to, like, show his, like, allegiance with Piccolo and not Goku this time. But it's, like, weird. It's, like, a do-over of one of Dragon Ball Z's most dramatic scenes except now it's with Piccolo and not instead of Goku. It's really nuts to contemplate it. Like, I'm not sure if lifting up and cementing Piccolo's role as Gohan's daddy diminishes Goku's role as Gohan's biological / absentee father, but it overall just lays out that that's the way it is and that's the way it's always been. Now, that aside, I'm not sure what a good score to give this movie is, but it's a pretty awesome Dragon Ball Z movie. I guess I'm just going to give it a basic 7 out of 10. It was a pretty good movie, not perfect, not as good as the Broly movie. And aside from the fact that it focused on Piccolo, it's your average Dragon Ball movie. Pros, it's a Piccolo movie. I love the deep cut inside jokes, I love the red ribbon backstory, and the animation was pretty good in certain places, like that one shot Korn's Tower. That was fantastic. Cons though, it's so a rehash of the Cell Saga. It's got all the same beats, just different characters. Gohan is a very secondary character in this movie, despite the fact this movie is about like getting him off his ass. And the cooler of the two Gamma brothers died, which bummed me out. Also, the switch from 2D to 3D animation, I fucking hated it. It made the movie feel really cheap in places. And I don't know, it just, 3D animation will just never be as good as 2D animation, and it feels like a little bit of a betrayal, since this is a classic 2D animated series. Alright, let me know if you guys got caught up on this movie too, or if you had any of your own takeaways about it. And please let me know if you guys want me to review any of the other Dragon Ball movies. I mean, I guess I could go backwards and review them all, but I don't really live and breathe Dragon Ball, so that might be kind of a stretch for me. Anyway, please subscribe. I'll keep making videos every day as I feel the need to complain about stuff. Alright, thanks guys. Later.